Hello, in this video we're looking at Background Designer and how to make your own brushes. So you see I've made this brush here that looks kind of weird, but in fact it's made up of multiple masks. There's 3 different channels. Every time you draw something you're drawing in the blue channel, the green channel and the red channel. And I use that to my advantage to help you change colours whilst you basically paint. So in this example here I've made this kind of shrub, so I'm just going to save this out somewhere. Okay, and now I'm going to open Background Designer. I'm running this from Game Maker Studio while I develop things. So you'll have access to some of the user area here to load in your own brushes, and there's a few that I've loaded in already. So if you just click somewhere in one of these spaces, you can then load in one of your own brushes. So I'll load in the shrub, I'll call it shrub 1. And as you can see, it's already swapped the colours out. We can actually preview what the colours were. If we press F5, you can see that's more or less the colours that I gave it. It's basically just swapped these colours out, but we can choose any colour we want, press tab and we'll get various different colours here. So I can change the black tones to like a dark green, any of the blue tones to red, and any of the red tones to a lighter green, and let's go for yellow here, and I've got a pretty nice looking shrub. And yeah, I can just go ahead and start plotting that down, rotate it around and things. And not only that, you can use it for anything at all. If you give it some sky colours, let's just give it some white, some light blue, something like that. And in fact, I'll take away the black tones and turn them into transparent pixels, so I'm left with just the highlight. And I'm just going to press 3 to get a little bit of opacity, and if I hold down shift and paint, I can actually paint with more than just one plot and get this kind of nice brush look. Now I just want to break it up with some more like that, and they have a little kind of cloud type thing. You can actually go between this slider and that to see what the original colours were. I'm just going to press F2 to reset these sliders, and 0 to bring full opacity back. And I'm just going to show you a bucket that basically was made by another artist for me, and you can see I can go between the new colours and the original colours here. So if you do have a bit of artwork that's already got the colours you want, then it's easy enough just to, you know, use this method. And if you want to swap them up, just bring this in and you can choose whatever colours those match. So any black tones, let's make this look inverted actually. We'll bring that right up and we'll just make these kind of go darker. I'll try and make it look like a negative. And there you go, that's a interesting looking bucket. There's also some bamboo here. If I go between the original colours, you can see this is the mask colour. F5 will also give me a preview of what it thinks will be happening if I swap these out. And then I can go ahead and actually swap them out. Change the blue for a dark green. And there I've got some bamboo. Scale and rotate, just to get a little bit of variation there. And go behind these buckets. You can see I've got the clouds there, but you get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Photoshop and make one of these again. So I've just got a new document. 1024 is a good maximum size. You don't have to use the full size, but good idea. And you want to paint thinking about those tones. Now I usually start with black, and I'll just go ahead and sort of make something. Let's make a kind of shrub type of shape, or a cloud or something. You see I've got some of these nice brushes here that I've made earlier, and the good thing about using Photoshop is you get, you know, way more control with it for whatever you want to make. My tool isn't really designed for making brushes, but it is pretty good at just plotting them down however you like. Okay, so let's say that's your kind of general cloud shape there, and I can go ahead and just make a new layer on top. Now I want to start painting in pure blue. So let's do that, and then just start layering in some blue here. I can choose to lock the pixels or do clipping mask so that I don't go away from this shape. That helps a bit. Okay, and I want to be on additive mode now, and that means it retains this original kind of mask. It's getting added on top, and I'm going to switch the color to red. So red's the next one. So I can choose some areas we want to be getting little highlights there, and the next layer is going to be green, so I'll just switch this to pure green. And what we'll do is I'll just do the underside. So you can think of this as a kind of ground light or something. Maybe touching the bottom of those. You can see again I'm using additive mode so that those layers are retained. You can always check these in the channels. So you see the red channel's doing this, the green channel's doing this, and the blue channel's doing this, and together they all make, you know, they all make it kind of work. I can even paint inside here as long as I'm painting in white, and I can kind of help finish that up a little bit more. Go to the green channel and check that out. Just make sure I paint in white, that becomes green, because each channel is just a grayscale, and then when they are put together they become their own color. And blue, let's just choose some black to help. Let's make sure you're on normal to get rid of some. And back to RGB, you see it's this kind of splat map type of effect. Okay, so I'm just going to refine that and save it out, and I'll call this cloud. In fact, let's put that inside of clouds. Cloud demo. Okay, and we can go straight back into Game Maker. Sorry, background designer made by Game Maker, made with Game Maker, made by me, and I'm just going to load that in and call this cloud. And you can see immediately that, let's see, you just need to draw on top of this. You can see it's already adopted these colors, but I can use tab to go through different colors here and decide on a nice tone. And none of these look great right now, so I'll just start picking some things. So let's say the base is this sky color, blue tones maybe a light blue from there, the red tones the next brightest one of these, and let's do white for this one. In fact, let's make that red or orange for the sort of orangey ground effect. And you can see that you can dot this around, and it doesn't look great, but once you've done like a full sky with that, it can look quite nice, and you can flip it around, scale up and down. And let's just pick, I'm going to pick a colour here and then control click this top colour, and everything basically gets the same tone. And I just want to tone some of that down a bit. You see I'm actually drawn over everything because I never thought about the layers so much, and I've just used tab to randomize some tones again. Let's just make this a brighter blue, control click so everything gets it, and I'm just going to play with some of these transparencies and fade them out a bit. Okay, so I can choose which colour and how much, and get a nicer looking sky in there. I can scale it up and flip every now and again just to get a bit more variation. I'm also using the opacity itself to get even more. So it's quite an interesting looking sky. Apart from me choosing the wrong layers, I can always just draw over those again. Let's get some, let's go like user one, do bamboo, F2 to reset everything, and tab to choose some colors. Shift and tab if you want to go back to color. And I'm just gonna like draw over that there. X to flip horizontally because you might want to make it look a bit different. X again up here. I'm just gonna try and make it look like that's part of that one. Let's rotate a little bit. And one up here as well. Okay, what else did I make? There's the shrub. Use tab to pick some new colors. I'm going to change this to like a bright red, and this I'll pick one of these. Let's just pick a few tones. Let's go for a more bluish tone here. So there's plenty of other preset brushes that I'm including, and they'll help get you started to make something nice. And I'll be adding more of these later, as well as different packs. Just some people there, some little patio. You might want to put that in the background. In fact, I'll start again, so I'll just do backspace to start again. And this is a little slab patio I've recently added, and pressing tab will give you different variations of that. We can change this up for green, or grey actually. This one will change to green. Spacebar to randomize the sky. Let's click that down a few times, and let's have a look at the user category. Bring in the little shrub there, and I'll change this one for a dark blue, yeah, and a kind of dark bluey green, and this one maybe not as bright. And this I'll just make a little kind of orangey leaf. Right, let's go for this. It's a bit more kind of Ghibli style. I'm just flipping every now and again to break this up, and you can see how you could make up an interesting scene that way. Let's actually go layer in front, and I'm going to store these colors by left clicking here, and what I want to do is just make a kind of variation of this so it's a little bit darker and more misty. I'm just going to add that there. So I just want to make these look a little bit faded in the background, so keeping them more pastel tones will help a lot. Little garden area there. Now I can right click to recall those tones, and then make these a little bit bigger like they're in the foreground, flip them around like that. And there's some other things like got some grass here, so I'm just going to change that up for green and just place that there. And I guess I want something in the background here. Let's see, we've got some mountains. We could definitely put some mountains in the background, but it'd have to be pretty far away or at the edge of the world. And really I want to sort of bring in a bit of sky, so I'm just going to change the colour of the gradient up and make this more bluish. maybe I'll add in the clouds first. So I'll go away down to layer 0. That's more like the cloud area. And there is some cloud shapes. So I will pick this color, control click so that they all get the color. And I'm just going to mix them up a bit. And I can go ahead and start kind of dotting in some different clouds here. Usually I just scale them up a bit and pick a few different ones. Like the dark blue here is a little bit too dark, so I'm just going to do a little bit of opacity on that. And there you could see a good example of how this kind of looks negative, like the light's hitting the bottom of it, and it's just a case of changing the colours to match. Press 0 to get full opacity. Now there isn't very much purple in this scene. I don't like the grey. I'll just pick one of these colours. Let's see what these look like. That's suddenly made it look like the sunlight over here, especially if I make this kind of orangey. So each brush has got 4 different tones that you can change, and you can see if I start to bring these in here, I can make this look like a nice sunny day. I think what I would need to do is kind of add some shadow in the foreground here or something, and I can always do that later in Photoshop, so I'm going to just save this out. Now you can choose the size of the document here. Just later I'll make this a clickable button, but for now it's F9, F10 and F11 to go between those, and I'll just do 2x HD and I'll save this. First I'm just going to press enter so you can see the process. Very quick, right? Didn't take long. And I'll just put this here. So, okay, let's call this Ghibli style 1. So let's give you a good start on getting a kind of Ghibli scene together. And there's still more work to be done with it, so you can take it into Photoshop and do the fancy extra stuff, or give it to an artist to do something with. Let's just go here. Okay, so there it is there, and what you want to do is just copy the layer and play around with levels. Yep, and I'm gonna actually make a kind of darker version of this. So I'll squeeze the levels down a bit and pull the overall level down, and then I'll just add a mask and Control I to make the mask not do anything until I paint white in it. So I'll paint white in the mask and I'll actually reintroduce some of this shadow here, because background designer doesn't know where the shadow is going to be cast, and I guess we could have just done something like this. If I go back in here and look for the layer, so this is a layer with all the shrubs, and then there's the layer with the slab there. So I could always just choose the shrub like that and press Y to flip it horizontally. Maybe not, maybe just the same. And if I choose black like that and Control click, everything will become black. Now I can choose to not have all the tones work or just some of them. Maybe something like that. And then I can use that with maybe 50% and dot in some shadows like that. Flip Y so that I can vary it up a bit, rotate. And it kind of works, but I really need this to look a lot brighter then. But I can do other things like go the layer above and then pick maybe this highlight, control click so they all get that. And you can see I can kind of make little edge highlights here. So I start with the back, kind of like you're painting or something. You don't want to put your hand over wet paint. So I can do something like that. And then maybe make this even brighter yellow, control click that top color so they all get the same. And I can play around with the strength of each channel and kind of dot in some tones there. So you could do that, and the same with the ground. So I'll just go where the ground layer is. I think it's this one, and there should be some texture brushes. Let's see, it's got some textures here. Yeah, this one. And let's make this a bit more of a kind of whitey tone like that, and I can, you know, dot a few of these in. And there's some fog as well. This one's a good texture brush. It doesn't have multiply layers or anything like that, but it's starting to look quite nice, especially down here. Now a cool trick you can do is press W and it will repeat the image, and you can see how it looks as a kind of panoramic type of scene, and I think that's quite a nice feature. So that's something that you can do in here, and then like take it out and touch it up in Photoshop. So in Photoshop I would just, you know, do stuff like that with the layers and carry on painting. But yeah, fairly easy to make a scene up. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy using Background Designer. The alpha will be out very soon. There's a current version on itch if you want to try that, but that version will be getting replaced very soon with this one. So thanks for watching. Bye.